Thank you for joining us on another fabulous episode of Popcorn for Breakfast with your co-host, Mustache Banana Man over there. What's going on? What's happening?
Hello. This is Banana Man. Have you met him before?
No, I haven't.
He
looks like he's up to no good, to be honest with you.
Always. He is a sneaky little devil. Look at him.
Just look at those eyes. Very shifty.
If you look close, you can see there's also a lovely bead of jewelry. He's a thief, actually.
Oh, wow.
He hides it behind his mustache.
I kind of dig him. I kind of dig the vibe that he's bringing.
He's pretty cool.
All right, with my real co-host, Kirk. What's going on?
Hello. Oh, so many shenanigans. How about you?
Always. It's good. All good in my neck of the woods. I mean, it's Tuesday night. It's PFB live stream, feeling good. Date of recording is Tuesday, May 25th. So in case anything crazy happens over the next couple of days, we are time stamping it so that we don't look dumb for not talking about it.
Yes.
That's the important thing, is that we don't look dumb. But yeah, lots going on. We've got a busy show. We've got a busy week of shows coming for you guys. We've got lots of news to catch you up on. We've got a movie, the biggest and hottest movie in the streaming world right now, a little film called Army of the Dead by Zack Snyder. We are going to be reviewing that film, which is a zombie movie, in case you couldn't tell from the title. It's always fun to be back in the realm of zombie films. I think it's one of the top... I don't know. I feel like it's one of the top subgenres of film. It's underneath the horror. It's its own genre underneath horror.
Yeah,
I just really think I really think it's up there. There's I don't know that there's a year that goes by without a zombie movie being made, and that's impressive.
It's a true testament, because you would think that it would be able to be overplayed, but people would come back to it time and time again because they just twist up just enough on the zombie timeline about what's different about these zombies, and then you get Army of the Dead, and now perceivably a new franchise coming out. With this.
Yeah, we'll get into all that. Into all that for sure. It's gonna be a fun movie to review, as zombie movies always are. Like I said, we've got lots of news. We're also going to, on the theme of zombies, at the very end here, we are going to do our schoolyard pick of zombie movies or TV shows. I want to call that out. It's basically like schoolyard pick of zombie media. So that'll be a fun one. We did back when Zombieland 2 came out, we did top 5 celebrity zombie apocalypse partners, which was super fun, like who you could partner up with in the zombie apocalypse. And that was a blast. But this will be good too. And I don't know. What else should we talk about? I mean, we had a busy weekend. It was my birthday over the weekend. Not to plug that, but 28 and feeling great. That's where we're at right now. The world is returning back to normal a little bit. I realized this weekend. I went to go play golf and didn't have to wear a mask in the clubhouse. It was like fully vaccinated people can take off masks, and took my son to his first movie ever in theaters.
Awesome.
To see Raya and the Last Dragon, which is a movie he loves. And that was super fun. So I'm excited. Things are looking up, Kirk. For the first time in a long time, things are really looking up.
Yeah, you kind of feel like you have literally the immunity idol, like in Survivor, when you walk into stores now, where you can decide if you want to wear a mask or not. You say, you know what? I am vaccinated, and there aren't that many people here. I shall take my mask off, and you walk through like a king or a queen, and it's pretty fantastic. And I'm looking forward to that, getting to see people's faces again. It's pretty incredible.
It is. There are parts of it that are incredible. First of all, when I enter, I like to dramatically remove my mask and swing it around my head like a cowboy's lasso, just to really make a dramatic entrance. I think that's kind of the way to go. That's what the move I've been favoring lately. But I will say, I am equal parts happy that the world is returning to normal and annoyed that the world is returning to normal, because the other night I got a DoorDash delivery and the person waited at my door like it was pre-pandemic. And I was like, no. I think before we go too much farther into this post-pandemic world, we need to have an honest conversation as a society about the things that we want to return and the things that we want to stay away. Because I'll tell you right now, having to meet someone at the door to get my food is at the top of the list of things I want to stay the way that it was during the pandemic.
Correct.
I hate it. And it caught me totally off guard. So the person rings my doorbell. I'm expecting them, they just drop it. I check the ring and they're just standing there. Well, I'm a mess. Like I got my kids, they're running around. My dogs are barking. It's like a whole thing. And it took me like 2 minutes to get to the door. I'm like, they're going to leave with my
your
food. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And had a pizza guy the other night, just in case you were wondering, I eat fast food apparently every night. This has all happened within like the last week. But it even said, it was like, your delivery will be contactless. And I was like, sweet, music's in my ears, no interactions with human beings, got it. And he waited there and he was not wearing a mask. And I was like, what are we doing? Just leave it at my door. Please leave me alone. I don't want to talk to anybody ever.
I don't utilize enough the microphone on my Ring doorbell. And I feel like I've had some similar experiences recently too, where I'm just going to say, leave it on the porch, you filthy
I've tried
animal.
that, dude. I feel like they never hear it, or they're like confused. I don't know. It like disorients people.
Oh, I think you have to be pretty loud. Yeah. Cause sometimes I try to scare my wife on the Ring doorbell, and this is, this is a confession. She's going to listen to this, and not know it, because I'm like, blah, 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 and she doesn't hear me. Because I've tried it so many times. Now I'm ready. You have to be super loud. So the next time that I catch her opening the front door to peek out at the weather, I'm gonna scream as loud as I can and hopefully alarm her. But so when you're telling them, you have to scream as loud as you can, just like in Home Alone.
Leave it. Like I'm the Onceler.
Yes.
On the Lorax, just like dropping a bucket down, or like dropping a whispermophone down my window and being like, get out of here.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, that would definitely be high on my list of things I don't want to return to pre-pandemic mode. I think other things. Well, I mentioned we went to Disney World during the pandemic, and everybody stands 6 feet apart in line is kind of awesome. Because
I love that.
When it's hot outside, I don't want a bunch of randos like all over me. And people are crazy in those lines, man. They're animals. They're like on top of you, as if the closer they get means less time. I mean, maybe a fraction of a second is what you earn by being closer. I just don't understand. I would like to, let's just keep the lines on the ground and be like, hey, this isn't personal, or this isn't like social distancing for safety. This is just get out of my grill.
Yes.
Because it's hot and I don't want to be near you. Okay. How about that?
I think it is a different kind of safety to reduce the number of fights in Disney World and Disneyland. That's just a statistic that they don't give us. And I feel like it's probably much higher. I
think so too. I don't know. I'm trying to think of other things I don't want to return to pre-pandemic.
Very busy schedules, extracurriculars for kids. Like I know they need it, but we're about to start that up, and I'm like, no.
I know the busy schedules. Yeah, I got a little anxious about that the other day. I had a full weekend this weekend, and I was like, what? Social obligations? What is happening? I feel like a fish out of water. And one just popped into my head. Curbside pickup. That has to stay. Curbside for everything. If any of these stores chicken out and go back, I will be against it 100%. It has to stay, because I just don't want to get dressed and leave my house. I just want to wear like socks and sandals and stay in my car with the music and the air conditioning. That's what I want.
Yes. You come to me, I pay you, I leave you, I never see you again. That's it. That's all I want.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, like, point of this conversation is we as a collective unit, there needs to be almost like an election of sorts, and not like a political one, but just one that they spring on everybody, where they're like, all right, here's a list of 10 activities. You can vote to have it go back to the way it was pre-pandemic, or keep it the way that it was during the pandemic, and then we all vote, and then society moves on. That's what I'm proposing.
I would vote for that. I fear for the dumb people in the world that they would vote the wrong things in. Yeah. But we have to try. We try.
We do. I don't want the DoorDasher waiting at my door. I can't have it. That cannot happen again.
The moral
I can't live like this
of this episode is do not let the DoorDasher stay and linger.
Just drop it and leave me alone. If I want to get my food off the porch in 30 minutes when I've woken up from a nap in the middle of the day, then I need to have the freedom to do that. Okay.
You get to nap in the middle of the day?
No, I don't. That's a fantasy. That's not real.
Man,
I never do that.
Previous lives.
I know.
Naps.
Yep. Maybe naps can come back. Maybe we can vote naps in. Siestas. See, this is just, we should just use this as an opportunity to make wholesale changes to our societal norms.
When I learned as a freshman in high school Spanish that the Hispanic community gets to take a nap in the middle of the day, I just looked around the room and I said, why? Why are we not doing this? This is brilliant. Productivity goes on.
Yeah, they've got it figured out.
Mental health goes up because you're resting. You can sleep off whatever stress you had in the first half of the day. Come back. Everyone's they got their moods out. They're ready to go. This is what we need. A real siesta in the afternoon.
I agree. Other cultures have it right. American culture, if you can call it that, is jacked up. We don't value anything like naps. We don't value maternity and paternity leave. We get like no time for that stuff. Like they take like months long sabbaticals and stuff. In Europe. Like, what are we doing?
Almost
We're working
a year.
ourselves to death.
I mean, guys, if you're just tuning in, yes, this is a movie review podcast, but these are the things that we want to see.
Things.
These things affect movies and affect lives and our lives and your life. So just stay with us because we're gonna get to zombie smashing, killing in a little bit with this movie.
Done. I had to get on my soapbox for a little bit there. It was necessary.
I'm all right with it. I'm all right.
All right. With that, let's talk about movie news, shall we? Let's talk about movie and television news. Let's pop it up.
Do it.
All right. This is what's poppin'. What's poppin' in the movie industry. I've got a couple of trailer reactions, which are my favorite. I love a good trailer reaction. First up on the docket is a trailer that has been highly, highly, highly anticipated for a little film called Marvel's Eternals, Kirk. Marvel's Eternals, which is really the first new property, I feel, in Phase 4. So we get a whole new cast of characters. This movie comes out in November. It was supposed to come out last year, and we finally got our first real look at it. Directed by recently minted Academy Award winner Chloe Zhao, and boasting a cast that includes Gemma Chan, Richard Madden, Angelina Jolie, Salma Hayek, Brian Tyree Henry, Kumail Nanjiani, Kit Harington. This cast is stacked, and this movie has a very unique vibe to it, Kirk. I want to get your reaction to the Eternals trailer.
Yeah, I mean, I'm loving that you're playing it again because I probably watched it 8 times today. Yes. Like, no joke, no less, because there are so many things happening in here that we haven't seen. And what a testament to the Marvel Cinematic Universe when we have seen them reinvent the characters and their worlds, and to drop this on us. How fantastic. Another thing that this gives us a taste of is that we know that these Eternals are from all time, from the beginning of time, seemingly, that they've been watching the world go by and interfering only when they need to. And it's pretty neat because we could have gotten a really stoic, ancient period piece, and they said, no, we're right here with you. Endgame just happened because they reference Tony Stark's death and Captain America's departure in the trailer. So we know where we're at. I'm sure we'll have flashbacks, but this trailer is really incredible. And shout out to Richard Madden throughout this entire thing because he is my absolute favorite. Yeah,
I love so much about this trailer. Really, I love that. First of all, I love that Chloe Zhao's fingerprints are all over this thing. I mean, those natural textures, those natural landscapes and colors, that's her. And I love to see it because I think that's what was done so well in Nomadland and what I was most excited to see her bring to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I'm very excited about that. Excited about our cast, which is just, it's so cool. I mean, this is such an interesting mix of people to have in a cast. I remember when the announcements were coming out, I was like, man, they are being very thoughtful about the way that they're pulling this movie together, and they're looking for very specific types of people, which is exactly what Chloe Zhao has said in all of her pre-materials. But I'm excited for Eternals. I'm excited for this movie. This is going to open up for people. Maybe I'll make a quick video about Eternals for people who are like interested in it, because I think this is going to open up a really interesting box for the Marvel Cinematic Universe and get into the lore. It would be impossible for them to have an Eternals movie without talking a little bit more about Thanos, because Thena, the character played by Angelina Jolie, who I think doesn't say a single word in this trailer actually, is actually Thanos' cousin. And Thanos is born to Eternal's parents, but has the deviant trait. So there's just some really interesting things that are going to come up here. You know, we're going to have to figure out, like, hey, when all that Infinity War stuff was going on, where were these guys? And
right.
I think there will be good explanations for all of that stuff. But overall, just stoked with the new feel of this. And I couldn't be more thrilled with the trailer personally.
It's everything that I want, and I cannot believe I still have to wait.
November 5th.
Months?
November 5th.
4 more months. I guess 3.5, or give or take.
So I mean, it's practically June, right?
Yes.
So then June, July, August, September, October. It's like 5 months.
I was wrong. I can't do math.
No, it's okay. It's okay. We got 5 months.
That's that's worse news, Cam. I wanted it to be less.
But we are like a month and change away from Black Widow. So, and
that's true.
Like 2 weeks away from Loki. So
all right.
we'll get through it, Kirk. We'll power through. It's going to be okay. So that's Marvel's Eternals. That is definitely one to keep your eyes peeled for, because I think it's going to be very interesting.
Did you say keep your eyes peeled? Hold on.
Oh, let's bring him back. Where's he at? There he is. He's definitely got his eyes peeled. Look at that. Is the mustache attached to Mr. Banana Man?
Oh, absolutely. It's not going anywhere. Yeah. This is a part of him.
He's really an interesting guy. It is interesting to me that thing was like factory assembled somewhere in that exact way. It's really quite fascinating.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to hold on to him for the rest of the episode. Would that make you feel comfortable?
I think it will make me very uncomfortable. Because look at the way that he's looking at me right now. It's really weirding me out.
Gonna get you.
Okay, I got another trailer reaction to throw your way, Kirk. This is also an interesting project. For those of you who are aware of the director Edgar Wright, the guy behind Shaun of the Dead, the guy behind Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the guy behind what's the Baby Driver? All kinds of good, crazy, eccentric movies. We get a new film. Trailer just dropped today. The movie's called Last Night in Soho. And I was today years old when I learned that this is a horror movie. For some reason, that totally slipped my gaze. And this trailer, which is playing right now on the screen for those of you watching on the stream, totally freaked me out. It totally spooked me. Kirk, what's your reaction to this trailer?
Yeah, I knew that it was going to be eerie, and as it progressed, I was like, okay, it's a weird out there thriller. And yeah, I also was shocked. There's a moment in this trailer coming shortly where a hand like bursts through the floor and grabs us, like, horror. This is a horror movie, and we're going down. I've never seen anything quite like this.
No.
Both very inventive films, trailers that we're getting this week. I don't know what to make of it. I like it. I'm horrified of it, and I want to see it. But I have a lot of questions, and maybe that's exactly what Edgar Wright wants us to have right now.
Yeah, I think definitely more questions than answers about this one. This movie has a really interesting cast, including Thomasin McKenzie, Anya Taylor-Joy. So Thomasin McKenzie, backing up, you would probably most know her from Jojo Rabbit. And Anya Taylor-Joy, of course, is Queen's Gambit, from the Queen's Gambit. So it also has Matt Smith. It has our guys who played the Weasley twins, George and whoever the other, Fred.
Wow, I have no idea.
They're in this movie.
That part of the trailer is nuts.
Spooky.
They freeze it, and there's this creepy music behind it, and it breaks like glass, but slowly, in not even a Hitchcockian way. It's just like super eerie. I don't know what it's drawing from, or if Edgar Wright or maybe it was the actual trailer editor. It's so creepy. Like we talked a lot about when Dr. Sleep came out, how we were gonna, pee our pants. This could happen. This really could happen in this movie.
It could be up on the pee your pants meter, just because it seems like the thrills are going to be really slow played, and like they're going to get their money's worth. Like they're going to build it up slowly. This movie leaves me with so many questions, because you've got Thomas and Mackenzie seemingly bouncing back and forth between the past and the present. Like basically she's like gets to pay the past a visit, or rather the past is visiting her. And so she gets to live like through this other person, which is the Anya Taylor-Joy personality. And there starts to be this blurring of lines between that reality and her reality. It just has a really freaky feel, but I love the aesthetic. I'm very intrigued about the story. It is written by Edgar Wright and directed by Edgar Wright. The dude does not miss. I mean, very rarely does he miss. And he has, like, if you were looking at his portfolio, like in actors, you'd be like, wow, this dude has incredible range. I think it's really interesting when directors hop over different genres. They do comedies, they do horror, they do all these different things. And Edgar Wright is right there. I mean, he's one of the top filmmakers that we have. So this is a must-see in 2021.
Excellent. We beautifully said.
That's Last Night in Soho. If you want to find out more about that movie, Kirk posted something on social today about it. So go check that out. What's the other Weasley twins, brother? Am I losing my mind? Is it George and Fred?
I thought it was. I thought you were exactly right.
Okay.
Weasley brother.
Yeah, just
twins.
Google it. I'm losing my mind over here.
They are Fred and George Weasley.
Okay. Close one. I was like, don't want to tick off the Harry Potter people. That would be bad.
No, they'd shut our podcast down.
They'd be like, you're done. You don't even know the Weasley twins. But those guys are in there. Okay. Next up. Man, this one. Come with me and you'll be in a world of Timothée Chalamet ding dong. That's where we're going, Kirk.
Take me there. Take me there, Cam.
It sounds like your favorite place on this planet, to be honest.
No, that's just my sarcasm on overdrive.
Yeah, and to anyone who didn't pick up on my weird singing and reference, Timothée Chalamet has been cast in a Willy Wonka origin story called Wonka, and he will play the titular role, Willy Wonka himself. Your reaction to this, Kirk?
Boo! That's all I have.
Okay, let's be objective though too. If you can.
I cannot.
If not, okay, all right, that's fair.
I cannot be objective to this. How can you take Gene Wilder's performance, which is perfect in this film, and try to make a younger version of it? Like, did we not learn our mistakes from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with Johnny Depp? Like, come on. This is awful.
Yeah, the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movies with Johnny Depp were Bizarro Deluxe.
Were there two?
Yeah, wasn't there?
Oh my goodness, I had no idea.
No. Am I making this up? Did I say movies?
You did, but you could be correct.
No, I don't think I am.
Oh my gosh. Please don't let there was
just the one, right?
Oh, thank goodness.
2005. I don't think there was a sequel.
Oh, thank goodness.
Sorry, I don't know why I said that. My brain freaked out there for a second.
But that's okay.
That movie is very odd. And it's hard to know exactly what they were going for. The Oompa Loompas for me ruined that movie.
Ranjit from How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
It's the same actor.
Yeah, it's very bizarre. It's very bizarre that they're all the same person. This is one of those movies that was like pretty well received from a critical standpoint, but it's just a really tough watch in general. I don't really know why. It's just like, it's very bizarre. So you've got that movie. You've got the classic Gene Wilder, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, which is among my favorites of all time. I've talked about it at length on this podcast. I think that performance by Gene Wilder is tops. I just think it is just unbelievably iconic, and just even looking at this picture, it just brings back so many warm fuzzies. I just think it's brilliant. So it's hard to know, like, what do you do with this that makes it work? Okay, I'm having a hard time picturing a scenario in which this works. Now, the director of the film is the director of Paddington, which is one of the most critically well-received movies ever. Oddly enough, the Paddington movies do incredibly well from a critical standpoint. So I just don't know. Do you go with a totally different aesthetic? Does the aesthetic have to feel familiar? It has to feel at least similar because it's based on book. So people who have read the Roald Dahl book, which is a lot of people through the years, will be expecting a certain aesthetic. But I feel like it has to somehow distance itself from the Gene Wilder and Johnny Depp movies, because it just has to, I feel like it has to feel totally different. I don't know. It's one of these projects where you hear it and you're like, why? Mm-hmm. Like, mm-hmm. Who is this for? Why did you guys decide that this was the time to do it? Like, is there that much money to be had for a Wonka origin story that's not really linked to any other? I don't know. There's just more questions than answers on this one, and it's not even close.
The only way I could see this working is that his name isn't really Willy Wonka.
Okay, so it's like Better Call Saul.
It's like Better Call Saul. Exactly. Exactly. And we see Tim Chalamet walk through this horrid, wretched, awful life, and the only just sliver of hope in his life is candy. And he murders people, and he
that was not what I was expecting.
He is a con artist, and he goes into witness protection, and all of a sudden he becomes Willy Wonka, which no one has ever seen his face and what he looks like until, of course, the Golden Ticket Challenge. So
yeah, there's almost an end of Joker movie scene where he's like the king of the Oompa Loompas. He's got chocolate smeared on his face. He's like standing in a field of edible grass.
Yes, just like eating it and losing his mind.
I'm there for it. Let's just get super dark. Let's I don't know. Let's hire Rob Zombie to direct the movie. Let's just get super weird. But seriously, I think the point that you're illustrating is an important one, despite the silliness, which is like, how do you even make this work? I don't know. Maybe they will. And there's certainly been movies I'm wrong about before, but I just feel like this has bad idea written all over it to me. And it's not even the casting. It's just the film concept itself, in my opinion. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I don't actually know what the details are in terms of release date, but production hasn't started. So it'll be a bit. So we'll be talking about it more for sure. Whether you like it or not, Kirk.
Dang it.
Sorry to be the bearer of bad news. Next up, this is an interesting one. Again, it's filed in that same category of like, how do we feel about this? Are we okay with this? Highlander. We're getting a Highlander remake with Henry Cavill in the star role. And I know Kirk, this is the exact contrary to the Timothée Chalamet. You're a huge Henry Cavill guy. So I'm interested to get your take on this. Does this do anything for you? A Highlander remake with Henry Cavill?
Well, I mean, obviously the elephant in the room, gosh, is that there can only be one. And
that
Henry
is true.
Cavill is not Christopher Lambert. But that being said, before we talk about my reaction to that specifically, can we just marvel at the fact that Henry Cavill has his hands in literally every single major franchise? We've got the Sherlock Holmes series. We've got The Witcher. We've got Highlander now. We have Mission Impossible. We have, did I say The Witcher?
You said The Witcher. Superman.
Superman, of course. I mean, that's 5 major
huge IPs.
Cultural just dominating franchises in literature and film, and he's not going to stop. He's going to take everyone's ticket. Just got to put that out there, just to remind people, if anyone is like sleeping on Henry Cavill, he is dominating.
It's time to wake up.
That's right, wake up. But him taking on this role, it fits. Honestly, it fits. I can see this being a fun ride, and the Highlander movies are just a depiction, a snapshot, a time capsule of 1980s film. So if they can correct this generally decent storyline to make it a little bit more exciting, I'm for it. Sean Connery is in the first one. I think the second one, they made him actually an alien, and then they retconned it in the third one. There was a TV series as well to this, and it's
Excellent.
a wild franchise. There are some big diehards on this, diehard fans, but I think that this is a great resurrection of this role. How do you feel? Have you seen Highlander before?
Yes, I have. It's one of those it's a sort of a rite of passage of sorts,
Yes.
I think, for anyone who really enjoys movies. I like the way that you described it. To answer your question on how I feel, like we actually talked about this over the weekend, and you were like, "What do you think, Henry Cavill, Highlander?" And I was like, and you were like, "Oh, you don't like the Henry Cavill casting?" I was like, "No, I just don't like this idea at all. Like, I wouldn't even do it. I wouldn't remake this movie. I don't understand why." But listen, I know that that's going to ruffle feathers because, like you said, there are people out there. There are Highlander people, and they're all over it. I always think of Talladega Nights, The Legend of Ricky Bobby, when he's like, Highlander it won the Oscar, and Sacha Baron Cohen's like, for what? And he's like, for best movie ever made. And then at the end of the movie, Sacha Baron Cohen's character is like, I watched the Highlander, it sucked. And so that's what I think of every time. But seriously, I just like, it is a very specific movie from a very specific time, and I don't understand why we're revisiting this. I really don't.
Dude, Christopher Lambert, he is a strange soul. I mean, you could not have that actor be successful in today's world. Shout out to my one of my professors at EIU. Absolutely loves Highlander. In his previous home, had a what was called the Highlander room. He has like a replica of the sword. It looks super awesome in person. I don't think anyone's allowed to touch it. I would love to be able to hold it, but. Maybe he's Highlander. Maybe he's actually the Highlander.
It could be.
My professor. Yes.
Wow. That's hilarious. I love things like that just have like a cult like following for no reason. I mean, like not for no reason. There are things to like about that movie. I'm not saying it's complete garbage, but I'm just like, it's so funny what people attach themselves to, and I'm here for it. Just like live your truth. Love the things that you love. I'm all about it.
Yes.
All right. A couple of quick hitters. Can we do some quick hitters here?
Do it.
All right, Knives Out 2. We've talked about it for the last 2 weeks, but we have one last, well, I say last. The one trickling in piece of casting news is that Kate Hudson has been added to the cast. And this is the one that feels like a little bit out of left field for the cast, I feel like, based on the trajectory they were on, but I'm so here for it. What's your reaction to Kate Hudson and Knives Out 2?
Big fan of Kate Hudson. She's been kind of off the radar with films recently, so pretty exciting to see. Honestly, the entire Russell Goldie Hawn fam, to come out swinging. Yeah. So it's exciting. I'm not bummed about this. I'm not confused about it. I think she has some incredible acting chops, especially with comedy. And I think that her sarcasm is going to play very well in this movie.
Yeah. It should be a good one. It should be good.
Watch her be like this ridiculously dramatic role that we've never seen her in after I've stated that.
They like totally cast her way outside of in a different range than we've ever seen before. I'd be here for that too. Dune. We've talked a little bit about Dune. Dune is expected to be huge. I mean, you've seen the cast list. You know it's directed by Denis Villeneuve, who is, in my opinion, like the hottest actor in the game or director in the game right now. So I feel like that's huge. And this is expected to be a giant franchise, huge sci-fi universe from the novels by Frank Herbert. And when it was announced late last year that HBO Max was doing the release on HBO Max same day as in theater stuff, and Dune was on that list, Denis Villeneuve and people involved with that movie flipped their lid and were like, heck no, that is not okay. And so that decision has been reversed, and Dune is now going to premiere exclusively in theaters and not on HBO Max, which will be this December when that actually comes to be. So if you want to catch Dune, your HBO Max subscription will not be the price of admission. You will have to go to a theater to check it out.
Bravo. He won the fight.
Listen, if I'm Warner, I'm like, yeah, we don't want to tick off Denis Villeneuve. This guy is like the guy right now and making tons of incredible movies. So yeah, let's make him happy. And the fans will go see it. I'll be there. And I think it's a movie. These big sci-fi epics, you would want to see it in theaters anyway. Would I watch it at home? Absolutely. Would I want to see it in theaters also? Definitely. So it's just one of those things, and I think that the numbers will speak for themselves whenever that one eventually comes out.
Yes.
2 other quick hitters. There is a show, a limited series coming out starring Elizabeth Olsen called Love and Death, based on a true story about a 1980 axe murder where a woman killed her best friend with an axe. Elizabeth Olsen will be playing that woman. And Jesse Plemons has been cast to star alongside Elizabeth Olsen in that series, coming to HBO Max. Love and Death.
Whoa.
So if that sounds intriguing, keep your eyes peeled. I'm certainly intrigued by at least those 2 cast members who are both incredible actors who are way, way, way on the rise. I think they would be on the list of like hottest up and coming people.
Oh, and definitely. I think that I will be shocked if Jesse Plemons doesn't also kill people in this show.
Because it would be shocking. It would be shocking because he's terrifying.
He's absolutely terrifying. No, he did play a detective in a movie recently. It was that the Denzel movie. Wasn't he a cop in that?
The Little Things?
Yes.
No.
Just kidding. I don't know what he was a cop.
No, but he was a cop in something.
Oh no.
Kirk.
Well, whatever it was, he was a good guy for once, and I was like, what? Jesse Plemons?
You're like, this isn't okay. You're just creepy. You know, you're the guy from Breaking Bad.
Yeah, you're supposed to haunt my dreams with every waking moment.
Yeah, you're a sociopath, right?
Oh no, what is it?
And then there was the I'm Thinking of Ending Things. That movie was creepy, and he was in that.
Judas and the Black Messiah. That's
what it was. Yeah, you're right. And that came out right around the time of The Little Things, so that's why. And it was also on HBO Max. So
yes, it's just all the movies are just one universe. They're all linking together.
Yeah, you were like, I'm watching you, Jesse Plemons.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess depending on your perspective on that movie, he may not be a bad guy, but I think he may not be a good guy, but he wasn't terrifying, and that's the key because he's usually a dream haunting role that keeps you awake at night.
Dude,
I know. I can't hardly look at him. I'm like, I don't trust you. You need to get out of here. Okay, next one. This one's a little bit funny. CW's Powerpuff Girls show. They saw the pilot and they said, "Nope, that ain't it." And they were reworking it. They threw it directly in the garbage and they said, "Let's run it back." So
yeah,
for those of you who are eagerly anticipating the live action Powerpuff Girls show, it's going to be a minute.
Well, I mean, I took a week off work for the premiere, so now I got to move. I know,
you got to move your PTO. That's embarrassing.
They're like, why do you have to move it? Oh, no reason. Hey,
no reason. Don't worry about it.
About the Powerpuff Girls.
This is super mean, okay? I'm just going to preface that. This is super mean, but my first thought was, how crappy does your pilot have to be to not clear the bar at the CW? You know what I'm saying? Like, these are the people behind some truly miserable shows. And
oh my goodness,
they brought in the pilot, and those guys were like, "Nope, this ain't it, Chief. Run it back." I am shocked and appalled. I would love to see that pilot. We need to hunt it down because it has to be just awful. I mean, so bad.
I mean, this is pretty embarrassing. The actors that are in this, like, they've been in some real roles before. I'm just a little baffled. You
don't hear about it every day. I have to assume that what happened was they got one look at live action Mojo Jojo, which is, for those of you not acquainted with the show, is a monkey with his brain floating in a tank above his head. And they were like, nope. I have to think that's what it was.
They should have had Tim Roth when he was in, the Planet of the Apes, when he had all the full makeup. It should have just been Tim Roth in that makeup again with the brain.
It could have been him. Or I was going to say it could be Andy Serkis. That's the obvious choice. Like,
you're right.
That's what they probably did. They saw the pilot. They said, come back to us when you have Andy Serkis. All right, we'll reconsider it then.
They're actually reformatting it as a limited series on HBO Max.
Yeah, they're just gonna like crudely paste in vague scenes of Caesar from the Planet of the Apes series of him like saying lines that could apply to whatever's going on in the show.
Yes. Oh man.
Oh Lord. No, we must at all costs. Like Reddit, I'm begging you. All of you crazy Reddit hackers and trolls, please come out from your lair and find the Powerpuff Girls pilot so we can all feast our eyes on it, because it's got to be just truly terrible.
One day we will get it.
One day. All right. That's all I got. No more quick hitters.
Okay, that sounds good.
Let's pop it up one last time. Was that your mouth?
That was my mouth.
That's weird. It sounded like you were like hitting the top of a bottle or something. What in the world?
I'm studying to be a beatboxer, Cam. I haven't told anyone this until now, but I would like to be.
Is that something they teach you in beatboxing school?
You got to know all the noises with the mouth, all the noises.
Well, sure, but like I wouldn't know that would be like one of the core things that you'd have to learn.
It's the first one. It's the very first one, actually.
Oh, it's the first one. All right.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, before we go any further, this is the building block. This is the ABCs of beatboxing right here. Wow.
And I am a star right now.
Yeah, you're killing it. Congrats. All right, we got a movie to review, so we better get to it. And we've got a schoolyard pick to get to after this. So let's move it. We got a movie. It's called Army of the Dead, written and directed and storied by Zack Snyder, who directed 300, Watchmen, Batman vs. Superman, Zack Snyder's Justice League, etc., among many others. And Kirk, you, my friend, are doing the honors of synopsing this movie, which is available to stream, by the way, on Netflix.
On Netflix, not HBO Max. Get it right, everybody. Get it right, Netflix. This movie is, it's got a lot of curveballs, this Army of the Dead, because you go into it, it's a zombie movie. But as we talked about, how do you make a zombie movie unique? How do you make it stand out so it's not just people eating flesh over and over and over and over again? You got to make cool kills. You got to make unique kills. This movie kicks off with basically the ground zero of how the zombies happen. Basically, they were already around. They knew they existed. We don't even know their original source. And they get broken out by just a bunch of dum-dums who are just speeding down the highway. Then they outbreak and they just start taking people out. And then at the core of this movie, though, after we see a montage of a team that we don't get to actually follow throughout the rest of this film, we see that this becomes a heist movie in the world of zombies taking over the universe. And really, it's kind of isolated. So that's a new take as well. They haven't been able to get out of Las Vegas, where they originally escaped from this horrific car crash that happens at the top of this film. So we go through this heist of getting back some money that's in the basement of one of the casinos and try to see if our team makes it out alive. This group of hoo-has that are summoned to go on a trip for, what was it, $200 million, I believe?
Yep, 200 million bones.
Yes. And so that is Army of the Dead.
Yeah, a lot of wrinkles to this guy. Like you said, it's I think the description on Netflix calls it like Ocean's 11 meets Zombieland or something like that, which is it's like, yeah, we'll get into that, but you could see why they would make that leap. But yeah, it's the fact that it's contained in Las Vegas is certainly an interesting wrinkle. The fact that it's a search and rescue mission for some money makes it unique in terms of zombie movies. So It's got an interesting flair. Runtime is right around 2.5 hours on this, and like I said, only available on Netflix. So if you haven't seen it and you're worried about spoilers, you'll want to avoid this, but go check it out on Netflix and then swing back around to this episode so you can hear our thoughts on Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead, which will begin right now with our superlatives. Kirk, we're going to kick it off with "and the Oscar goes to," and that is for our best actor in the film. Kirk, who are you giving it to?
Today, the Oscar goes to Dave Bautista. You know him best as Mr. Drax in the Guardians of the Galaxy series. His breakout role, he's been acting for a very long time,
Mm-hmm.
but that is what brought him to everyone's a household name. Doing lots of other stuff, Blade Runner 2049, if
Yep.
that's correct, and just a whole bunch of stuff on his docket coming up here soon. I thought he was great. I thought that the script worked against him a lot of times in this, that
Yep.
to no fault of his own, that if he had better structure, better direction, sorry, Zach, that we would have been given a more powerful performance by Dave Bautista. There were just this film seems like maybe a sixth grader wrote it, and maybe they did. Maybe they wrote it in sixth grade, and then they said, "You know what? I've got this. I wrote this a long time ago, and we're going to make this into such a fantastic feature film." I think that Dave Bautista really pulls it out with all of his tricks, and he's really trying. He's trying to relate to every character in a different way, which is huge. Finding different relationships and how they change throughout the course of a film. So, Dave Bautista.
Great pick. Great pick. Gotta love old Dave Bautista. He really is getting a lot of work these days, and I think that is a testament to who he is. Of course, he was what was it, WWE wrestler Batista?
Was it that, or was it MMA?
Oh, was it MMA?
It might have
Well,
been.
they don't have weird names in MMA, do they?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know enough about that world.
Here it comes. In 2002, he became SmackDown.
Wrestler.
You win.
Yeah.
You win.
I was just thinking because his name was Batista. I'm like, they don't really give like weird names to MMA fighters. Because it's like real.
Right.
So they like use their real names instead of these like monikers.
Yes.
But he is certainly not the first professional wrestler to make the leap to acting because there's obvious synergies there. But he is one of the most successful to ever do it. So congrats to Mr. Dave Bautista. I am going with his co-star, Ella Purnell, who played Kate in this movie.
Yes.
She's Dave Bautista's daughter, sort of estranged daughter in a way. When the zombie situation went down and it happened in Vegas, which is where they're from, their family was personally affected by it, with the mother becoming a zombie. Dave Bautista has to kill her. It's a whole thing, sort of worst case scenario in the zombie apocalypse, but not something that's uncommon to see in movies like this. As Kurt kind of alluded to, I feel like the script doesn't do any of our characters a favor here in terms of character development is pretty limited. So with that and with the dialogue dialogue is hard to write, no doubt about it. And especially in movies like this that have pretty wacky subject matter, but they definitely could have done better than what they did from a dialogue standpoint. But I just really thought that Ella Purnell did an excellent job of giving some emotion to this movie, giving some life to it. She had good range of emotions. She's sort of like, working through a lot of stuff emotionally. And I felt like at each moment, her character was acting appropriately to what she would have been going through from a physical, mental, emotional perspective, which is really all you can ask from an actor. And I think it's especially hard to do in a movie that is so far displaced from reality, like a zombie apocalypse casino heist film. So I give her huge kudos for that. And I thought she really did an excellent job and was a standout amongst this cast of characters. Miss Ella Purnell.
Excellent.
All right. Let's move on to our scene stealers. What was the surprise performance or the breakout performance or something that really just sort of caught you off guard, Kirk?
Well, I'm going to mention someone who's not been mentioned. Her name is Miss Ella Purnell. She is just a wonderful, wonderful actress. I'm glad to be the first one to introduce her name into the world.
Yeah.
But she played Dave Bautista's daughter, as Cam mentioned. She was great. I did not expect her character to come into play in this film. I did not expect her character arc to be his daughter. We find out like maybe 40 minutes into this movie that he has a daughter and it's her. I thought she was just another ragtag character that we were just going to follow, and then they connected her. I thought that was super weird. It kind of worked, kind of didn't. There are bigger plot holes with the opening montage and the woman that we followed that gets smashed by that giant storage container, who does not end up being Ella Purnell's mother. And I'm like, wait, what was the point then to follow that lady if there's no emotional connection? But despite all of that, she really kept me on my toes. She really was just pushing this thing along, throughout everything that was going on. The money heist, didn't care that she was going to get a crazy big payout from that 15 mil that Dave Bautista just was going to hand over to her. She's like, who cares? I got to get this lady that's my friend, And at the end, she stuck to her guns. It wasn't like they stumbled upon her. No, Ella Purnell went and found her. And she was able to convince me her passion to take care of people. She's just someone I did not expect to be this good in a zombie movie.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see if she gets, her day in the sun, because what's working against actors these days is that because there's so much content, we don't really have that many superstars unless they just catch lightning with a series that goes completely viral. And maybe this movie will for people. Maybe she'll be on a show that will, but that's the tricky part. I could, if the stars align, I could see her being a household name soon as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think that upside is there. I think she has potential. I think she had a lot of really good acting tricks up her sleeve. I was pretty impressed just from an emotional standpoint. Like, there's a pretty emotional scene with her and Dave Bautista towards the end of the movie where they're like, it's the end of the line for him. And so they're both crying about it, but he's like telling jokes and she's like snort laughing, but also crying. Yeah. It's just, it's tricky stuff and nuanced stuff, but those things can make a scene feel so much more human and just really help immerse the audience. And so thank God she was there. She did an excellent job, honestly. Great pick. My scene stealer, I am going with an actor that I was not familiar with heading into this movie. A guy by the name of Matthias Schweighofer. For those of you, who take German for 4 years in high school like me, I'm just going to drop that one on you. Schweighofer. Okay.
Oh man.
Don't ask me anything else about German. It's all been suctioned out of my brain and replaced with useless movie knowledge, probably. He played a character named Dieter, who is sort of a pretty played out trope of like the eccentric, skinny, white foreign guy with a Eastern European accent who like is the specialist on something. And in this case, he's the code breaker, the safe cracker. So definitely a trope that's a little bit tired, but one that was desperately needed to be in play in this movie because he provided some life. He provided some energy. You would think a zombie movie and one of this scale and budget and things like that wouldn't need energy, but this one did. It needed some life. And our guy Matthias really brought it. He brought it. He was fun. Every time he got encountered with a zombie, he screamed at the top of his lungs, like super high pitched, which was hilarious. If he ever like shot one with a gun, he celebrated, and it was amazing. I just really enjoyed this character. It was one of the supporting cast was interesting, and I don't feel like any of the characters were well enough developed, but a few of them took their opportunity and totally ran with it to make an impact on this film. And I felt like Matthias Schweighofer was at the top of that list.
Man, you just said that with like such ease. I can't even.
4 years of German, Kirk. It's not like I just woke up and learned how to say that. It's like, if that's all I can do after 4 years in German, that should be considered a pretty low bar to clear. All right, so that's our acting awards. Let's talk about the movie itself, and let's start with what we really loved about the movie, and let's go with showstopper. Kirk, I want to know what it was about this movie that knocked your socks off.
Yeah, I think the storyline, though it failed, I think it's still unique enough, because when we think of zombie apocalypse, we think of the world done. Dunzo, you can't escape it. The fact that we had this new layer of, no, they didn't get out. They are secluded in in Las Vegas. They can't get out. We've trapped them in whichever way we've figured it out. That and there have always been different versions of kind of evolved zombies, but never to the effect of this state. The closest this comes to would be I Am Legend, where we have like true like zombies kind of in love with each other, but not literally so in love that they make a child and they have a zombie baby, which I'm sure will grow up to be the evil zombie king or queen in the next iteration of this series. So I think that that level of storytelling to reshape the zombie landscape, I just never would have thought that would have worked, and it did. So keeping them in captivity and actually containing them, A, and B, being able to grow them as two different breeds of zombies. So they had your standard zombies, they had your dormant sleeping zombies, and then they had these evolved zombies who were basically, living beings that could actually connect to one another while they killed any living thing in front of them.
Yeah, definitely some good world building on the zombie landscape, because like you said, it's a genre that's been done and done and done again. And there's always a new wrinkle. There's always a new place. So there's always some time at the beginning of these zombie movies where you have to kind of like figure out what are the rules of these zombies. What are the rules of this universe? Can they run? Can they jump? Are they afraid of fire? Are they slow? Like, can they learn? Can they talk? And this movie definitely had what felt like a pretty unique approach. And I think, like you said, if you just told somebody it's a zombie heist movie, that's cool. Like that's cool on its own. That's a nice, quick elevator pitch for a movie storyline. So I think, yeah, kudos for the uniqueness. I like that one. My showstopper, I'm going with, I think this movie had one of the best zombie scenes that I had ever seen in a movie, which is this scene where they are navigating their way through this zombie-infested Las Vegas, and they come into this dark building where the zombies are hibernating.
Yep.
And so they're like, listen, we've seen this before. They're hibernating. If we just like pass by slowly, we can get through. And Dave Bautista's like, all right, I'll blaze a path. You guys follow me. And so he's just going through dropping these like glow stick markers, for lack of a better term. And it's a great scene. It's great. Obviously, inevitably, the zombies end up getting woken up, and you end up with them just surrounded by this massive zombie horde, which leads to tons of great zombie violence. The scene ends with one of the people getting taken over by the zombies and being like, go without me, sacrificing themselves. And then the way that they get away from the horde is the gasoline tank she was carrying on her back for the helicopters gets shot by one of her comrades, and it takes out a ton of zombies.
Yeah.
The tension build up to, like, that the zombies are going to wake up. The question is just how and when. And so the tension build is just really good. This is what you look for in a zombie movie. You want the big, crazy, scary scenes, and this was really that scene for me. I think it's the only one where I really felt actually tense in the movie, but it was good. It was a really good tense moment, and I thought it was masterful. I really enjoyed it, and the practical effects were pretty good on the zombies as well. So yeah, have to give it to that scene. It happens about not even midway, close to midway, but a little bit before that in the movie. So that's where the zombie violence peaked for me. And from there were definitely more big zombie scenes, but that was the one that really stole the show for me.
It was, because it felt like kind of your Daredevil on Netflix scene where it just seemed like one seemingly long shot.
Yes.
Was it Maria? Was it her character that just took down all those zombies? Is that right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she just like went just one for one, just like taking them all out. And
they all start to like wake up one at a time slowly, because she bumped into one because like a trap was laid for her, and she starts just like stabbing them in the head one at a time. Yeah, she goes out in a blaze of glory, which is always what you want to see in at least once in a zombie movie. You want to see somebody go out in a blaze of glory, taking one for the team, and she did it in epic fashion.
Beautiful choice. Beautiful choice.
All right, let's go to the other side of the coin. Director's shoes. What is one thing or multiple things that you would change about the movie, or notes you have for our director, Mr. Zack Snyder?
Dear Zach, My name is Kirk, and we need to talk because there are a lot of things in here that really are troublesome. Um, this movie, as it says, is Ocean's 11 meets Zombieland. Well, if you have to advertise to your audience that you are just like another movie, then you've made a mistake because that shouldn't happen. You should be setting the bar for what people compare you to other films. So when we talk about, I was excited about how it was a heist movie. That's neat that it was contained, but it also the way that this mimics the comedy almost beat for beat for Zombieland is just not that super creative. The opening slow mo montage after our initial scene of the zombies getting in being introduced to them. It might as well could have just swapped it for the Zombieland intro.
Straight up.
Put the big letters.
Yeah, it's just Viva Las Vegas instead of the For Whom the Bell Tolls. I think that's what they go for with Zombieland.
Yes, it's so I was baffled. I said, "Wait, is this really happening?" Like down to every element that happens in that opening montage is just so similar. And the comedy, how they kind of set each joke up is very similar to Zombieland. So if you like that kind of humor, if you like that kind of direction, well, you need to find a way to still build that, but build it as your own. It was painful a lot of the times to watch. The dialogue throughout was just weak. You knew exactly the line that was going to come out of the character's mouth before they said it, just because it was spiked and you were just waiting for them to hit it, and it didn't land well though. It didn't land well. I could go on and on.
Yeah.
And the last thing with that opening montage, I thought that at least the payoff would be you see this woman go and fight and battle these zombies and go through incredible things and survive incredible things, and then just get smashed with some cheap CGI with the storage unit. And then later on, I said this earlier, then that's not our main character's mother, our other main character's wife. Like then you have to have us try to empathize with a different mother who was killed. Like why didn't that connect at all? Like it made no sense. I really wanted to see that lady's journey because I was like, man, she's pretty cool. Like let's go. And then nothing. It wasn't even a cool trick. So there's a lot of things wrong with this.
Well, yeah, and to your point, like in that scene, which is that montage, which is first of all extremely long and also a straight ripoff of Zombieland. I cannot emphasize that enough. It is exactly the same. They even use that aesthetic of like the overly cartoony zombie / people deaths, like somebody getting a shipping container dropped on them, somebody getting blown to smithereens. Like it's overly cartoony, like one guy parachutes down into a horde of zombies and blood splatters all over the parachute. Like that aesthetic happens in that montage and then is gone for the rest of the movie. So there's no real consistency there. Yeah, it's a good point. For me, the big thing for me in director shoes, there are a lot. Actually, I feel similarly to Kirk. There are things that I could go on for a long time about, but what it comes down to is attention to detail. I think what I'm learning is I'm not a Zack Snyder fan, which is okay. I don't have to be. I other than Watchmen, I don't know that there's a movie of his that I've really, really, really enjoyed and thought was excellent. And even Watchmen is a flawed movie from my perspective, but so he has this reputation of being like the nicest guy ever, which is awesome. And all power to him. Sometimes I wonder if it is affecting his directing ability because like there are attention to details things where it's like, maybe he just didn't want to ask them to do another take because they're friends, or like, maybe he's just like, yeah, that was awesome. Cool. Great job, guys. Love you guys. Awesome. Yeah, like, I don't know. I have to find some explanation for it because I think his vision for me is always there, but it's always like half baked. And this movie was no different. Like there were so many things where it was just like, man, come on, attention to detail. Let's do better. Like, there was this scene where they first meet the zombie like queen, and she like saunters away, and her physical acting as she goes away is awful and totally kills the suspension of disbelief in the movie. And I'm like, dude, it wasn't even necessary to show her walking away. In fact, like, we shouldn't have. So there's a thing, like, that should have hit the cutting room floor. Like, let's attention to detail. This aesthetic that you see next to my head right now with the pink letters and the cool, like, animated, like, I was sold on this movie with that aesthetic, and it's not anywhere in this movie at all. Like, those colors, the bright lights, the super cartoony, like, blood feel, that approach is, I don't feel like is reflected except for maybe in that opening montage. So the consistency is not there. The attention to detail is not there. Like you said, I mean, there were even scenes where you could tell Dave Bautista's like working through some tough dialogue, but also it's like, was that the best take? Or with any of the actors, like, was that really the best take that you guys could have gotten? I feel like it wasn't. I feel like that was a lower level take, and we should have just run that back. So I'm like, I don't know. I'm starting to feel like the story on him is like, he makes decent movies and doesn't make great movies, and that's totally my opinion, but it really is how I'm starting to feel, especially after this one. So attention to detail could have really gone a long way for this one. And why 2.5 hours? It didn't need to be. It 2.5 hours and you're not going to develop your characters? Come on.
No.
Come on.
Nope.
It's too long. If you're going to make the movie that long and it's a zombie movie, develop your characters so we care to stick around to the end. And I barely did. If I wasn't watching it for the podcast, I'm not sure I would have stuck around to the end, to be fully honest with you.
Yes.
So yeah, it has some errors from my perspective. Let's move into final thoughts and scores. Kirk, you have the floor, my friend.
Well, you said it. It was difficult to finish this one out. I think that, I mean, maybe this isn't the Snyder cut. Maybe he got duped again. And Netflix tied his hands and held it behind his back. There are already 2 movies. One's, I think, in production, and one is already filmed that is coming our way. One is a prequel with, what was the German guy's name again?
Dieter,
yes. One is a prequel with him. And the other, a prequel film with him leading a group of, I guess, Germans and other survivors. And the other one is with Miss Ella Purnell, which is a series which has a whole bunch of different random stars. I know Vanessa Hudgens is in that cast, and it's a TV series that is already on its way. I don't see how they are sustainable when the kickoff was not good enough, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So this movie, may it truly rest in peace and not rise again from the dead. I am giving this movie a 2.8 out of 10.
Youchie mamas.
Yes.
That is a low score.
Yeah.
All right. So not high praise from Kirk on Army of the Dead. Yeah, let's take stock of kind of what we've talked about so far. I think for me, it's a movie that has just massive potential and upside. I dug the cast. I dug the aesthetic that I was seeing in the trailers and the promotional material. They really had me hooked. I was ready. I was excited. I love a good zombie movie. I feel like I was the target audience for this movie, and at every turn, it failed me. I feel like it really did. I didn't think there was enough zombie action. I didn't think there was enough creativity with the action in the movie. I didn't think the heist vibes were there. I would have liked just more attention to detail. Like make the dialogue a little bit better. Let your guys improv. Get extra takes. Give it another few passes on the edit to take out things where there's weird physical acting. Why do we need to spend so much time super close to the zombies? That doesn't help us. That doesn't help.
No.
In any horror movie, the thing that you're scared of is going to look ridiculous if you dwell on it for too long. It's the nature of things. And we spent so much time with these zombies that with an hour left in the movie, I'm like, yep, not scared of these guys. Don't care. I was too familiar with them. And so it's the things like that just honestly could have made this movie like 3 points better. And I don't know if you heard, Kirk, did you hear about the dead pixels?
What?
So There in this movie, it's unclear at this point if it's a Netflix problem or if it is a production problem, but it appears from looking at it that one of the cameras that was being used in this movie had an error that caused a couple of pixels to be dead so that they are always white. And if you're watching it, you can notice it. And once you notice it, you cannot unnotice it. And it is horrific. Just look it up. Army of the Dead, Dead Pixels. People are calling it Army of the Dead Pixels. It's pretty small and you have to be pretty eagle-eyed to notice it, but it is one of those things that once you see it, you can't unsee it. So again, attention to detail. How did we get that far along in production? If it really was due to the camera, how did we get it that far in production without noticing it? You know, like that's those people's job. So anyway, I've gone on too long. This movie misses the mark. It's a 4.9. It is just entertaining enough to keep me around till the end, but barely, and it's not an above average movie. So I'm giving it a 4.9, and I think that's nice, Cam, if we're being honest. So that's where we're at on Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead, available to stream exclusively on Netflix.
The Dead Pixels is blowing my mind. I missed them.
So I did not see it. The first time through. Just being fully honest, I tend to not pick up on things like that because I don't know. I mean, I watch movies in 4K and stuff, and I care about the picture, but I just am like not that keyed in on tiny pixels on the screen. But I did go back and watch scenes after I read the article, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's so noticeable now, and I cannot stop seeing it.
So is it in every shot?
No, it's not in every shot.
Okay, gotcha.
The theory that I read on Reddit was that Zack Snyder used 3 primary cameras for this movie, and one of the 3 had the issue, and the other 2 did not.
Oh, I know what I'm doing tonight. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's something else. It's worth checking out. Okay, let's change gears and let's do our schoolyard pick of zombie movies or TV. Basically, the top zombie productions that we have watched. And I get to kick it off because Kirk kicked off our review with superlatives.
Dang it.
All right, my first pick in the schoolyard pick of zombie movies / TV shows is the 1978 classic George Romero's Dawn of the Dead. I love it. First of all, I wouldn't be surprised if there were more George Romero picks for me in this list. I grew up with these movies. I love them. I have a cousin, shout out my cousin Zach, who just has always loved zombie media and introduced me to them at a youngish age and introduced me to them starting with George Romero, the godfather of zombie movies. He did Night of the Living Dead, 1968 classic, then Dawn of the Dead, the 1978 classic, Day of the Dead, Land of the Dead, Island of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead, that's the one for me. It's the one. And it takes place in a shopping mall. It's one of the most inventive, most creative things. It really it took the creativity of the zombie genre to the next level when people are like, ooh, imagine you are trapped in a shopping mall during the zombie apocalypse. How would you use the gates on the stores? How would you use the security cameras in the control room? Just how would you use the merchandise that's for sale in the mall? Just really creative. And I feel like this was the catalyst that made so many young horror film or aspiring horror film directors go, bing, what if we did this? You know, what if it was on a train? What if it was on a boat? What if it was all these different things? And so this is the zombie movie for me, Dawn of the Dead, 1978. It's a classic.
Excellent choice. My first pick is going to be The Walking Dead.
Ooh, love it.
Lots of controversy with that show, but man, I stick with it. I stick with it to this day. I'm ready for the final season to come out. Something about justice is rooted in me, Cam. And when your central character is a cop living in the zombie apocalypse and trying to find his moral compass and what's good, what's bad, what mistakes he makes, I just attach so greatly to the Rick Grimes character. And I just, I'm annoyed that he's not on the show anymore. But his spirit just lingers on. It's like, all right, he's coming. Those movies are coming. Those Rick Grimes movies are coming. So I got to watch this stuff to get through it. And I just have never seen a character dev through a show series like that ever before, that I was just rooting him on, even in his worst mistakes. I was like, yeah, you would make that choice because of this, this, and this. That's right. You have to do it. Go ahead. So I think Walking Dead it is for me.
Yeah, man. The first 3 episodes, or the first 3 seasons of that show, are really just great television. Truly so entertaining. And Rick Grimes is a once in a lifetime character. I love that character as well. Have to agree. Great pick. My second pick, I'm going with 28 Days Later.
All right.
Just because I feel like this is the zombie movie that really, this was the modern zombie movie that made people really fall in love with the genre, because it brought a new modern flair. Like, it was a modern setting. It was, it felt super realistic for some reason. Just the interpersonal dynamics of the movie felt realistic. It was scary. I felt like this movie was really scary. And the fact that the zombies are like faster, they're different. This movie I feel like was a turning point for the genre and really opened the door for another generation of people to fall in love with the zombie subgenre again and to think about it in a different way. And so I give the movie a ton of credit for sort of blazing that path.
Beautiful. I'm going to go next with Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, there's Edgar Wright. We were just talking about him earlier.
Yes, indeed. Dude, this movie blew my mind because in a couple of ways. I started watching this movie, I was like, oh, I was way too young, first of all, to be watching this movie. So I watched it. I was like, oh, zombies, they're not all gore. And then, you get through some scenes, you're like, oh, whatever, he killed him this way. That's funny, no problem. And then they get to the pub cam, and whatever age I was when they just rip that guy's insides out, and they're like eating his intestines. And I was mortified. My stomach dropped. I couldn't sleep that night. But then I watched it again and I said, okay, there are worse things in like dramatic zombie films. And so I continued to fall in love with that movie the more and more I watch it, and how creative it is, and how just spot on it is about first of all England, because they just nail it, and then second of all zombies. It's just very self-aware of what the genre is and what it can be. So very nice, very nice.
Yeah, that's a good one. It gets super dark at the end, which is like, it kind of catches you off guard. You're like, ooh, uncharted territory. I was trusting you, Edgar Wright. I was trusting you with where we were going here, and now I'm like kind of scared. And then he brings you back. So it's an interesting one and a total classic. All right, my third pick, I'm going with George Romero's Night of the Living Dead, 1968. Mm-hmm. This is the beginning of it all. They're coming to get you, Barbara, with the graveyard scene where the guy's slowly moving around and they have their first encounter. These zombies are what I always imagine the zombie apocalypse as. They're slow. They're scared of fire. It really is more about the interpersonal dynamics. All these people end up in this house for different reasons because they're all avoiding the zombies, and it's all about how can they work together. And there's this slowly moving, existential threat moving in toward them to take them out, and they have to find a way to work together. It's those dynamics that make this genre really cool, and an ending that is a huge twist and definitely haunting. But one of the best ever. It's one of those movies that's a great intro to horror if you have younger kids. Typically like, I don't know, 11, 12, 13 years old, they can probably handle this because it's 1968. It is still scary, but it's like, it's not going to ruin their lives. But
or will it?
Or will it? I don't know. It didn't for me, but you never know. It wasn't Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh gosh,
we can't go there. But it's a great one, and I still love it to this day.
I'm starting to realize how much of the classic zombie movies I have not watched, because I'm looking at my list here, and I'm thinking, Well, I mean, still great stuff going on my list, but I'm like, yeah, I've never watched all of the zombie movies all the way through, like your classics that you're dropping over there. So,
Dude, this Halloween,
excellent.
seriously, do yourself a favor and at least watch Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead. Those first two originals. It's such a fun movie going experience.
Why wait till Halloween? Why not
you could
tonight?
do it tonight. Yeah, exactly.
I'm not going to sleep tonight. I'm just going to watch zombie movies. I got to give a big shout out to Netflix for its attempt at a new zombie franchise that I wish would have been more successful. It got canceled after one season. It was heartbreaking. It was called Daybreak, and it was about a bunch of teenagers surviving in the zombie apocalypse, and all of the adults had actually turned into zombies. So that was a great creative take. Only a few adults had not turned, and they share some reasoning for that in the show, which I've since forgotten. Maybe that's why the show got canceled. But I think that it was so fun. You talked about, we were looking for these bright colors in Army of the Dead. This thing was just splashed with color. The whole series. It was like 13 or 14 episodes, and just really charismatic characters. They broke the fourth wall all the time, and different characters had the chance to break the fourth wall. So if you get a chance, it's only one season, but man, it's really fantastic. It's got the guy who voiced Jake from what's the Disney show? Jake and the Neverland Pirates, right?
Yeah, Jake and the Neverland Pirates. Yep.
Yeah, he was Jake. It's got Matthew Broderick is in it. Just some big names that come into here that really do a good job. So if you haven't seen it, make sure you check it out.
Yeah, huge names. Jake and the Neverland Pirates. That's big. That's big time.
That's what floored me. That's the one.
Like, whoa!
Matthew Broderick.
Who rolled up the Brinks truck for this one?
Jake.
Oh Lord, that's a good one. Okay, number 4, my fourth pick. I am going with Zombieland.
All right.
Love Zombieland. It's a classic. Woody Harrelson, man, this was his big return. This is one of the first movies people really got up close and personal with Emma Stone and got to see what she's all about. Abigail Breslin, Jesse Eisenberg, Bill Murray with a cameo performance of a lifetime.
Yes.
It's funny, it's heartfelt, it's violent. It holds up pretty well. Love Zombieland. It's a classic.
Is this my number 4?
Yes.
Oh, this is not good because you stole one of my 5 that I had.
No.
So we're just in dangerous territory here. But I got to throw out World War Z with Brad Pitt. That movie gets a lot of flack because apparently if you read books, it's nothing like the book, which is whatever.
Losers.
Who reads? This is a movie podcast. I thought it was really, really exhilarating. I don't know how I would feel about it now. I've only seen that movie once in theaters. It scared the crap out of me because they have the sprinting zombies in that movie, and there's just no escape from that because they're powered by Satan, undead evil that goes faster than a human, and Usain Bolt. So that movie, pretty cool, pretty great twist with the people who are terminal. The zombies don't want them, so then everyone injects themselves and gives them a virus. How very topical of our current times. So I think that that's going to live up on my list for a long time.
Yeah, people who like the book hate the movie. But if you haven't read the book, no problem. Just go into it like it's a totally new thing. Yeah. And let's just point out, if we had World War Z zombies, there's a 0% chance humanity survives. I mean, I think we're gone in a day.
Yes.
Tops.
That's it.
Just wiped out. Gone. Okay, my final pick. I gotta go Train to Busan. This is the Korean zombie film that people call it like the Snowpiercer of zombie films for obvious reasons. I think it's a little bit more complex than that. It obviously is a zombie movie that takes place on a train. Which has some really fun, interesting dynamics that go on that. But it's also, the story of a father protecting his daughter as he's trying to get her to her mom's. It's interesting. It's not that old, and I think they're making a sequel. I believe I read.
Oh,
So I don't know how that will work. Will it also take place on a train? Will it be called Bus to Busan or something like that? No, it's so I don't know. There is supposedly a sequel that's coming. So there is a sequel called Peninsula.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I need to look. I need to look more into this. But I thought there was either a new sequel or a video game or something like that coming out that is new.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, it's a must watch. It's really fun if you like that sort of thing.
If you're a big zombie fan.
Yeah.
I'm drawing a blank here. I'm looking through giant lists of zombie movies, and I have not seen that many. This is kind of this is a wake up moment for me, and I really don't know how to process this. This is intense. I would say the only other movie that I know of that's zombie like throughout these lists that I've actually seen and can speak to, which is not really a true zombie, but maybe it is I Am Legend, you know?
Yeah. I think they're technically, they're like vampire zombies.
Yeah. Right? You know, they're not like true 100% blood. That's all I can think of. And
that's basically a zombie movie though, like in essence.
Yeah. I'm going to go with that. So, and I'm going to watch some more zombie movies. So the next time we do this, the next time a zombie movie comes out, I'll be dropping crazy, weird ones like Life with Beth and Gallow Walkers and Hell's Ground, all these crazy things that you can't imagine. Can't imagine.
In euchre, if you have a really good hand, it's a card game for the uninitiated. You can go it alone. That's what I should have done for the schoolyard pick. I should have picked for both of us and just gone by myself and been like, pick number one for me. Because I have honorable mentions even, Kirk. I have more.
Oh man, I'll give my honorable mentions too. You go first.
Okay, Day of the Dead is on my honorable mentions list. Yes. 28 weeks later. Warm Bodies is on my honorable mentions list as well. I mean, it's again, I didn't put it in the top 5, but it is a movie about zombies.
It is. This is true.
What else did I have? Let me look at my notes. That may be it. Yeah, that's all I'm going to mention.
Oh, well, mine, my honorable mentions have to go to The Vineyard, Dr. Butcher, Zombiethon, Resident Evil. What else do we have?
Resident Evil, Kirk.
Yes, of course. We have also an honorable mention, Legion of the Night, Dead Rising. I mean, how could you not think of these ones, Cam?
Dead Rising is a video game, isn't it?
Scary or Die, Wicked Little Things, Sugar Hill. I have all of the zombie.
Oh, knowledge. there was a movie that came out pretty recently, a zombie movie that I've been wanting to see that stars Lupita Nyong'o. It came out in like 2019 or something like that.
Okay.
That's called like
Us?
No. It came out the same year as Us, though.
Interesting.
What is it called? Like Little People or something like that? I can't remember. Anyway.
Little Walkers? No, I don't know.
Let me look it up. Sorry, this is bad radio.
It's fantastic radio.
Hold on. First person who figures it out wins.
Gets a candy bar. Lupita, she was in
2019.
Dang it.
It's got to be
Little Monsters.
Yeah, dang it, Kirk. Yeah, Little Monsters. So I need to add that one to the list as well. I need to go check that one out. Anywho,
yes, don't get confused with the 1989 film with Howie Mandel and Fred Savage or Ben Savage called Little Monsters. Although that's a great film. That's a great film right there.
There's no way.
Howie Mandel plays a blue monster that lives under Fred Savage's bed. It's crazy.
Wow. Okay, well, good for Howie Mandel. That's really something.
Yes.
All right, friends, that's all we got for you. Thanks so much for tuning in. We have next week, we might be doing a double review, Kirk. I hate to break it to you, but it's Memorial Day weekend, and we've got Cruella coming out.
Yes.
All right. And we've got, oh Lord, what's the other one now? Oh, A Quiet Place, Part 2. That's the other one that's coming out. So,
yes. Which neither of us have seen the original A Quiet Place.
No, I have now.
Oh, you have? How dare you?
Sorry.
How dare you?
I did watch it without you, but I had to check it out.
All right. Well, there, you have betrayed me once again.
It's okay. It's okay. But just watch it. I mean, I watched it like 2 weeks ago, so it's all good.
You didn't even tell me.
I didn't. I'm so sorry. Am I supposed to be reporting back every film that I watch?
Every single one.
I'm so sorry. I did not know. I'm so sorry. Okay. But we'll have to decide if we're reviewing one of those or both. I kind of feel like we have to review both. I don't know.
Let's review 5 films in next week's episode.
I mean, listen, if we need to go there, we'll go there. So that's coming up. I've got the 52-week movie challenge coming up. I think that's probably going to start this weekend too, meaning I will start watching the movie that I'm going to watch. The way that it's going to work with 52-week movie challenge, I've decided, is that it's going to be a video series. Like I said, it's going to be short form videos, and we are going to pick the things randomly through a random generator, like which week that we're doing, and I'm going to let you guys, the listeners, the people who follow us on social, pick which movie in the particular genre I watch. So it's going to be fun, and then we can watch them together. Well, separately, but together in spirit, and then we can get together and chat about them in video form. So it's going to be a good time. And soon, very soon, Spilled Popcorn will be coming back with our deep dive into Loki. We'll be following that series along with you. If you haven't gotten a chance to go back and watch our recaps of WandaVision and The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, first of all, if you haven't watched those shows, watch those shows, but watch our recaps with it. It will enhance your experience.
Yes.
But also, if you want to get caught up on where we're at in the Marvel cinematic timeline, just swing back and check out those Falcon and the Winter Soldier recaps, and you can get right back into it. But that's all we got for you. We are going to close things out, as we always do, with our original music, which is by the band Rhetoric. Check them out on Apple Music, Amazon Music, Spotify, and we will see you guys next week.
Talk to you then.
Bye.